Well, we're going to call this part 3 because part 2 got lost. I think where I left off was getting the basic shape cut out and trimming this to match the sides, putting the welt in. Um, Use a contact cement to put the weld in, and then usually when you're inside cut it to fit the blade so it's nice and secure, and it helps hold the blade secure over time. And got a few tools laying out you guys might be interested in if you ever get into this. Made this a dangler. Basically, I just glued the welt in. I use a belt sander for a lot of the finishing. Get it smooth, and then melt hot wax into here, or use the seam edge from Tandy Leather Company. Stuff's pretty expensive. It adds up. But that edge coat, it works really well to preserve the edges. Contaminants can get in there, but the wax kind of seals it off too. So right now there's no color on this. That's just starting to get the weathered look to it. But the first tool, I guess, would be a stitch groove. Just you can set the depth of that and then where you want your stitches, and then you can define where you're going to put your stitch. And I usually go, depending on the thickness of the thread, I might go a couple deep. Now, depending on how you punch your holes, I usually use this guy here or a drill press with a small bit. And I would suggest not doing this on the other side, because lining up those two holes, it's nearly impossible. But so what I'll do is drill the holes, and if you're doing it by hand, just be square and do the same angle each time. And then when you come over here, you can go ahead and get between each hole, and then make a stitch groove for that too. It just keeps the yarn or the string or the sinew from getting torn up on use. And a lot of times I'll use this artificial sinew. These are the tube rivets. You can see how they expand out to like a star pattern, and they start out like that. And depending on the thickness of my project, I'll cut that rivet down to match. Say if it was just 2 layers, you can see where you might want to cut it. Sometimes these things get goofy on you, but it takes a special tool to open those up. It just spreads it out and then pinches it down on over the top of the layers of leather. Another style rivet is little press-in rivets. This little guy expands inside of here and then flattens out. And they're pretty good for lightweight projects. Not the greatest. I use these for a long time. And then a good friend of mine, Dino, referred me to these, and I've been using these ever since on the heavier knife sheaths. So that's another way of doing it. You just tamp that down. I got a brass rod here, and then I use the back of usually use the back of this. This is for the snaps, but I'll use the back of this to flatten these out and make them look nice. And then another style is this here. It's like a grommet, for tarps and stuff. It's a miniature one, so you just use this guy to open it up. It's good for, you can put it on one layer for a lanyard hole or different things. And this guy here is actually a tool from work. It's a skiver where you conveyor belts, like corncob belts. You take that layer of corncob off to relace the belts at work. And but I use this for edging and stuff. You can just control your angle and go around edges and get a nice beveled edge, or just odds and ends. Other than that, just a few tricks. I'll do a saddle stitch with this guy here. That'll be in the next video. I just wanted to give an update. Y'all are probably wondering what's going on with it, and I lost all the footage where I got to this point for video number 2. So, but like I said, it was just matching up the sides, putting the 2 rivets in, and finishing it down, whether you trim it off with a razor and hand sand it or whatever. But other than that, just an update on the sheath, and making it a dangler too. I went ahead and made a belt loop for it here. That'll go in here. And it'll be on the, you sit down and stuff, it won't get in the way. And you can tie off here and around your leg or whatever if you're walking, and it won't swing around and bother you. But you can clip it on, or you can just put this around your belt and not use this one at all. So kind of a two-way deal. I usually make this longer to put on the belt, but I figured this is going to be more of a neck knife. If you don't want to use the dangler system, you can use it as a neck knife. But that's the update on that. We'll call it part 3 and get into that stitching. I'll open up another video and do my best on showing you how to do that.